everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into the new blush palette from Tarte. This is called the Major Headlines Blush Palette. It has 3 different tones in here, and of course you have the creams on the top with this little lid that closes to kind of keep them protected, and then you have the powders here on the bottom. Now this palette retails for $58. It's currently sold out on the Sephora website and also Tarte website, so this sucker sold out quick. I picked this up on the 24-hour app early access deal that they have on Sephora once in a while, and it just arrived today, so we're gonna dive into it. I have a lot to say about this palette, and I don't feel like this palette's gonna be for everyone, so if you missed out on it, hang tight till I get into the video and my final thoughts. Hopefully I will help you decide if this is something that you really need. For reference, I will leave a list in the description box down below of popular foundations on the market and what shades I wear in those foundations, so you can kind of use it as a reference. Because I am a medium to tan with a golden olive undertone, that is kind of how I buy my foundations. You guys will see me apply all 3 of the shades on my face. And then I decided to play with the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette from Tarte today because it's kind of a Tarte day. So I created this eyeshadow look, and I will just share a little bit of footage of me using that palette and how I created this eyeshadow look. Then we will jump into the swatches, and I am going to swatch the palette and also compare these shades to other shades that I have. These are the original blush duos, and I have 4 of them. So I will swatch this palette next to the 4 shades that I have in his blush duos. And then I will also swatch it next to other cream blushes that I have in my collection. Then we will get into my final thoughts. So without further ado, let's jump into the applications, and I will see you guys all in my final thoughts. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up this blush palette. So it comes in the same packaging as his other stuff, pretty much. Really pretty rose gold. And this is the exact same size as the eyeshadow palette. Wow, I just opened this and this is so bright. Holy smokes. This is so much brighter in real life than it is in like images, especially I think this shade. This is like a hot magenta, like a hot pink, and then this is like a hot bright pink. Like, wow. This is a gorgeous color. I'm kind of excited to try this one. I think what I'm gonna do, because I wanna show you guys what all 3 of these shades look like on my medium to tan skin. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm gonna put these 2 shades on each cheek, wipe my makeup off, just like right here, put my foundation back on, and then I'll come back on camera and I'll put this on, just so that you guys can see all 3 of the shades. You can work this any way you want. What I've noticed with his cream formula is that you can put it on underneath the powder or over top of the powder. I think Tarte kind of created this to go over top, the cream to go over top, but it depends on what look you're wanting. So if you're wanting a little bit more of a fresh look, go into the powder and then go into the cream on top and just kind of bounce it over top to kind of give it that fresh look. But if you're wanting the extra pigment, like if you're wanting something a little bit more dramatic, I would recommend going in with the cream and then the powder. However, with these 2 shades, I would be very careful doing that. I would be extremely careful going in with the cream and the powder over top, because then you're gonna have a lot of pigment. Because going in with the cream and kind of giving it a base and then going over with the powder, like the cream kind of gives the powder something to stick to, and it's super pigmented. So I just would not recommend that method with these 2 shades unless you really want that dramatic cheek, right? That's just a few tips that I have learned along the way on using his products. I prefer going with the powder and then dabbing a little bit of the cream over top. I've got a few brushes here in mind. I thought about using like these brushes from Wayne Goss because they're not as dense. So I don't want, with these bright shades, I don't want them to be super, super impactful, because I just don't like, now here's the thing, I love blush, but I don't like that streak of bright blush going all the way up the cheek. Like, that's just not my look. I think for like editorials or a particular like makeup look that you're wanting to capture and take pictures of and share, like that's one thing. but like just on a regular daily basis, I just don't want to wear a big old thing of blush, right? So this is the Wayne Goss number 1, and this is the number 2. So we're gonna hit it, kids. Okay, so I am gonna go in with this shade first. I'm gonna dab in a little bit. There it is on the brush. And I'm just kind of doing these tapping motions to kind of, if I start going in and blending, it's really gonna make it even more dramatic. So I'm gonna wipe the brush off, and then I'm gonna go in and kind of blend those edges. That color is poppy, right? Wowza. Okay, I have a dampened beauty sponge here. So I just pick it up like this. So that kind of gives it that fresh look. You see how that cream over top kind of emphasizes that color and really makes it pop. So this is about as far as I would ever go wearing this blush. Like, I've seen some images of, you know, other people. I haven't watched any videos, but I've seen images of people wearing this. And for me, I love blush, but it's a lot of blush. So this is about as far as I would go with it. But it is a look though. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Okay, so let's move on to this color. I'm gonna dip in with the Wayne Goss number 2. I might even go like on the back of my hand and just see what kind of pigment that gives me. Okay, it's not bad. Okay. Okay, I've wiped off the brush, and now I'm just gonna go in and kind of blend it. Ooh, that is some pigment, y'all. I'm gonna grab this spot on my sponge, and I'm gonna go into the cream. So on my skin tone, I'm not seeing a major difference between these two. Now, of course, if I was gonna wear these, I would go in and kind of buff out some of these edges and make it a little bit more seamless, but I'm just gonna be wiping my makeup off in a minute. They look kind of similar, but you can definitely see that there is a difference. But they look a little bit more similar on my skin tone. Now, if you have a lighter complexion than I do, you're definitely going to see a difference between these two shades. Me being that I'm medium to tan, I'm not seeing a huge dramatic difference between the two shades. Okay, so I'm back. I went ahead and added a little bit of powder right here because I am going to wear this and then powder and put some bronzer on. So I didn't have a lot of powder on in the first because I knew I was going to be taking it off. Okay, so let's move on to the last shade, which is called She's Baked. This is the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy. This is the A507, and I'm gonna go into this shade. Picks up quite a bit. This is a synthetic brush. I'm gonna definitely tap off. Ooh, it's got way more pigment than I was expecting. Okay, so this is a lot of blush. I'm gonna go ahead and powder because this is a lot of blush, and it's actually, it might be the brush that's picking up a lot. Like the other two didn't really pick up a lot, but this is picking up a lot, and now I've got like a lot of blush on. So I'm gonna go in to my setting powder, and I'm gonna take one of my favorite powder brushes. Actually, it is my favorite. This is the Master Face from Sonia G. Which, by the way, this Sky Face set just came back into stock. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and powder all over. Kind of buffing all of these products together. Kind of making it just a little bit more seamless. Now I'm going to go into this side of the sponge, and I'm going to go into that cream. that is definitely my favorite shade in the palette. So that's it for the application. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup. You guys are gonna go ahead and jump into the footage of me using this Patrick Ta Major Dimension eyeshadow palette just to kind of share the eyeshadow look and, you know, let you guys see how it was created. Then we will jump into the swatches and comparisons, and then we will jump into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, everyone, I hope that those swatches and comparisons were helpful for you. Let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. First thing I want to say is I don't feel like this palette's going to be for everyone. I think this palette is for that person that absolutely loves really, really strong blushes. And if you love a really strong blush, this is your palette. It really is. These shades are very beautiful, but they are going to fit a particular need. I think this palette is best suited for those that have a deeper complexion, like tan, dark, deep. This palette, I think in my opinion, these shades will look the best on those skin tones. Oh, out of all of the skin tones, because these are so vibrant and so beautiful that they are really going to add a lot of dimension to the face, and they're just gonna give such a pop of color. So being with that said, if you have a lighter complexion, this is gonna be kind of tricky for you. You will really wanna be careful with this. Like, you will want to apply the smallest amount, and actually I would recommend, I mean, you saw this brush just really picked up a lot of pigment. So if you have a brush that's a little bit more dense packed like this is, I would go into it and then I would tap it off on the back of my hand so that you're not applying a ton, and then just kind of slowly build it from there. I think these two shades are definitely for those special occasions. I just can't see myself wearing these on a regular basis. It's gonna have to be that particular makeup look, that particular shirt, something like that. This shade is definitely much more wearable on an everyday basis, but I noticed in my collection that I have from Patrick Ta, so this one is called Oh She's Different. Now this one's a little bit more on the plum side. So as you can see how they look. So this one in this single is a little bit more plum than this one in the palette. So this is the single and this is what's in the blush palette. So this is the single in the shade Oh She's Different. So they're very similar. But then he also has this. This has been my favorite. Out of the 4 that I have, this is my favorite. This is called She's So LA. The reason why I love this is because this is something different than what I don't have. Like all the other tones, they're kind of like traditional colors, which are beautiful. But this one, in my opinion, really stood out because it was different. But I have a feeling that if you mixed that one and the She's So Different, Oh She's So Different, I have a feeling that they are gonna look very similar. See that? So what I did was I grabbed a little bit of Oh She's So Different and I grabbed a little bit of She's So LA, okay? Mixing them, this is the color I get. So that's very similar. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that if you wanted to buy this because you want this right here, you really don't need it. If you have these 2 shades right here, or maybe if you have one of these shades, then you could pick up the other single without having to buy the palette. So I wanted to mention that because they are, I mean, that's almost the exact same shade. This is just a tad bit brighter, but I have a feeling that the way that you kind of dip your brush in, so if you go in to She's So Different first, like if you went in like this, and then you went into She's So LA and kind of tapped off, and then went in to blend it into your face, I think you're gonna get a very, very similar look. So I wanted to mention that because that shade I feel like is the most kind of wearable on an everyday basis from the palette. Overall, this is definitely a very unique palette, and I love that he kind of brought something out of the box. I personally am really hoping that he creates cream highlighters and powder highlighter combos. We have the blushes, we now have the contour. Like I really, really want the highlighter combo. Don't you think that'd be beautiful to have that powder highlight and then that cream right next to it to go over top? Like, I'm waiting, Patrick Ta Beauty. Come on, like bring it. But this is a beautiful palette, but I don't see this being necessary for everyone. You're gonna have to really love hot pink, magenta style type blushes in order to justify this purchase. I do think if you have a darker complexion, oh, this palette will be gorgeous on you. As a reviewer, I would recommend this 100% for those who have a darker complexion. Holy smokes, it's gonna be beautiful. But if you don't have a darker complexion, this is probably going to be a either real hit or a complete waste of money. So you'll have to kind of decide, is this gonna be a complete waste of money? And am I buying it because I love this combination? Because this is beautiful. I don't feel like it's necessary to buy this blush palette just for that. The formula is beautiful. I love cream blushes. Cream blushes are my favorite. With that being said, I'm really picky when it comes to cream blushes. And Patrick Ta's cream and powder duo blushes have been my top 5 favorite formulas on the market. I'm very picky with them, and I definitely like that particular look, but because it has the powder to kind of help with the cream, it's like the perfect combination, and it's an amazing formula. If you're somebody that doesn't like these really strong colors, if you have not bought any of his cream blush duos, I would recommend looking at the singles and finding those shades that are attractive to you. Something that you could wear on a daily basis and feel comfortable wearing it. Because I feel like this is definitely a moment. This is not an everyday for me on a personal level. Now I'm talking about those who have fair to like medium to tan skin. If you have a darker complexion, this is an everyday thing because these colors will look beautiful on you every single day. Even with the most natural makeup look, because these are perfect tones for darker complexion. If you don't have a darker complexion and you don't think that you're gonna wear these strong blushes, but you wanna try the formula, he has some gorgeous options. So this one is She's That Girl, and it's that really beautiful kind of baby pink. Then we have Oh She's So Different, which is the one that I was saying, if you mix these two shades together, you would pretty much get the one shade that's in the blush palette. And then the other one that I have is Do We Know Her? And this is a gorgeous peachy one. If you haven't tried his formula and you don't think you're gonna wear those really poppy colors, then I would 100% recommend just buying a single because they're gorgeous. And with the Sephora sale coming up, it's kind of the perfect time to pick one up. So those are my overall thoughts. Sound off down below in the comment section. Are you guys picking up this blush palette? Have you picked it up? If you have, share with us in the comment section down below your experience. I think it's beautiful, but it's definitely not going to be something I'm going to reach for very often because those shades are extremely strong. But I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Sound off down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.